We've done a lot together from leadership development and the Society for Information Management, Association for Business Technology Professionals, other industry events in the area. But I'm really anxious to get to know you better today. And I wanted to throw it to you immediately and just talk about what are the 2 or 3 top of mind things that you're sharing with your team and with those that you care about?
Yeah, so the number one is a thing that I think most IT people would never think to talk about, and it's something that doesn't really have anything to do with technology. It's burnout. So we felt like we were seeing some of our staff not be fully engaged after we went remote. And it didn't happen suddenly like I think you would expect. It happened really slowly, where we, over the course of 3 years now, you started to feel like, wait a minute, they're not as responsive as they were a year ago, 2 years ago. And so you could automatically think, oh, well, they've checked out. It's their fault. Something's, they've done something wrong. You need to punish them or something to get them back in. And it was Gartner, of all people, who were like, hey, man, this could be burnout. And like, you could be suffering from it too. And I'm like, not me, I'm bulletproof. And sure enough, I started to research what is burnout. And it turned out I didn't know what it was. And as I figured out what burnout was and how it's not stress, it's very different than stress. It's not an acute event. It's like a building over time of a lot of small things that really could entirely be outside of work. And yet you're bringing your burnout to work. And so I just took what was a prepared presentation from Gartner on what is burnout and provided it to my team. And all the tools on dealing with burnout were the same tools that we were told to use when we went remote during COVID. So it is, hey man, you're going to be task switching constantly. So what you need to do is go into Outlook and just turn off your email notifications so they don't bother you while you're working. Set aside time in your day where you're going to have focus time and block that out on your calendar. Block out your lunch on your calendar so you get a lunch.
You get to eat.
Yes, otherwise everyone's going to take your lunch. And what I do is I just block out those times as tentative to where you're sort of discouraged to use those blocks, but if you have to, you can. And it works. So I get usually a lunch each day and maybe focus time. And there's tools built into Outlook that tell you about focus time and that encourage you to do it, encourage you to follow up with people. And then that applies to your smartphone too. And so we started telling people, hey man, go into Teams and mark yourself where you're not getting notifications after 5 o'clock unless it's from maybe a core group of people. Same with your personal contacts, like after 9 p.m., unless you're a starred contact, you've got to call me twice. And these are all features built. So all we did is we bubbled up all these technology features built into Android, built into iPhone, built into Microsoft tools, because we're a Microsoft shop, and just said, hey, use these tools. And also, here's what burnout is. And by the way, it's okay to talk about this. And we did that once. And in our all hands meeting, I spent about an hour on it. And I had probably 3 or 4 people call me individually and say, thank you for talking about that. Now, if you've ever led a large team, people don't call and thank you for your topics after meetings. So I was like, oh, wait, I may have been onto something here. And this was all something I never wanted to talk about and was kind of encouraged or almost forced to by Gartner, who we have a relationship with. And they repeatedly brought it up to the point I was annoyed and just wanted them to go away.